Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Havkanama. I'm a speedrunner of Evoland, and I'm here today to provide hopefully a small guide on how to speedrun Evoland 1. In doing so today, I'll try to explain everything I can about the game, about the glitches, about exploits, etc., etc. So yeah, if you're looking to start running Evoland yourself, this might probably be the best thing you have right now to start. I'll be doing all of this without any cuts or edits, so I hope I'll get this done in one go. And we'll see. So we start a new game. When we start a new game, the thing I can recommend to you is you're allowed to set your timer to minus 2.6 seconds, because that's about the time it takes from new game, clicking here until the game starts. Now the start is very simple. You can only move to the right, now you can only move to the left, now you can up and down, grab the chest and keep on moving to the next screen, to the right, to the bottom, get sounds. Very important to grab this one, the smoother scrolling, otherwise you'll have some issues later on, a lot of them. You move south, get the sword and continue moving on to the right, where you unlock the monsters, and here will be the very first important chest, being this one right here. This chest is the music chest, and if you don't grab one of the two music chests, there is a chance that very weird things will happen, and with a chance I mean it's almost guaranteed. So you will want to grab always one of the two music chests. There is a little bit of a trick you can do here when you look up here, hit the attack button, and then you can turn into the chest in the right timing to open it in one go. Saves a few frames. If you can do it, looks something like this. Now if you're a newer player, I recommend going up here and grabbing this chest, which unlocks save points. The game auto-saves at many different occasions, but it can still always be helpful to save, especially right at the start. No matter if you grab it or not, you want to move immediately right and down where you get colors. And you want to deal with the Octoroks over here, moving downwards. Now here's the first big real enemy of the game, the bats. The bats are very, very annoying and can very quickly end your run, because they have free movement, which we have yet to unlock. And we don't need this chest, we don't need those chests. I'll go over here to grab a free movement, and this is the point where a controller already gets a slight advantage, because if you're playing on controller, your movement when moving not quite diagonally, but in a diagonal angle, you're moving a little bit faster than more on most other platforms, or if you were using keyboard, you'd actually get a little bit of a slowdown when moving a diagonal. So first up for the controller, especially noticeable in the 2D worlds. Now this was just an example of going slow. If you actually have some experience backing you and maybe even some luck, the start might as well look like this. I'll try to make a faster start here. At the start, it is always up to you how much risk you want to take, up to the reward. Obviously, you can go as risky as you want. If you die, you only lose about a minute. This area should only take you about 1.5 minutes, maybe 1:10 if you're pretty good at what you're doing. And all in all, the main problem with this are the bats. If you get through here, usually there shouldn't be too many more problems for you to face. With, as I said, the bats being your biggest enemy. Sometimes you probably do want to slow down, like in this case, where the Octorok could have done, and yeah, bats, as I mentioned. Alright, moving on with this. Like I said, bats always are your own decision if you want to play it a bit slower and therefore safer, or if you want to risk a reset this early on. in order to save some time. Alright, once you're here, you will have these two knights. These two knights can only be attacked from the sides and from the behind. They're currently petrified. So what you probably want to do is first walk against both to unpetrify them, grab the chest up here, and then you want to hit them. As I said, only the sides and the back will deal damage to them. And then you can just leave immediately, and then you have the first area done. Now we're unlocking turn-based battles here, which we'll be needing because we need to kill 4 enemies in this point of the game. Optimally, we'll only get slimes. In the most optimal case, we get 2 encounters with 4 slimes between them. That can be an encounter with 1 slime and 1 with 3 slimes, or 2 encounters with 2 slimes. If you don't get those, however, you still will have to kill till you've killed minimum 4 enemies. If you get an encounter with more, it's up to you if you want to consider resetting at that point already, or if you just want to do an extra encounter to get what you need. In this case, I'm getting 5 enemies, and including 2 Amoks. You probably prefer not seeing Amoks, as Amoks you will always need 3 attacks to kill them, while slimes go down usually in 1 or 2 attacks, as they only have 12 HP, and 12 is the maximum amount of damage you can deal to a slime as of right now. And once you have your minimum 4 enemies killed, you go in here. You don't need this chest, and if you're a newer player, I'd recommend grabbing the save point first, even though it's technically not needed, as once you enter the area, it creates an autosave for you, so technically no need. Once you come in, 4 soldiers here, you probably want to do the exact same. First of all, unpetrifying them all, and then just killing them. You want to preferably kill the one in the bottom right last, as the bottom right is exactly where you need to be after killing those 4, so being closer to that is helpful. Open the chest to get into the village before heading down the well to get the seed, which will immediately make you a grown-up and allow you, more things, access to the rest of the game, basically. And I want to make your way to the very left of the city to grab a chest that allows you to enter houses, and then want to head back 1 house to the right and enter right here to the shop. Now, you want to grab this chest here, and then depending on if you killed 4 or 5 enemies, if you killed 5, you're already good. If you only killed 4, you want to talk to this barrel to find another 50 gliss. And then you want a menu to get the longsword and the copper armor. Take your time here. If you only had 4 kills, you have only just enough money to buy this. And if you accidentally buy a potion, then you'd either have to reset or try to get another encounter. So once you are grown up and have the weapons, you can leave the city through the right side before getting into the forest fight. You're still good here when you're around 30 HP, then you're definitely safe, and the monsters here can't do anything to you. They'll hurt a bit, but you're most likely gonna be fine. If you're lower than 30, you might want to consider throwing the potion that you got for free at the start of the game, naming Karis, and moving on to the Crystal Caves. Now the Crystal Caves start pretty simple. By naming your character, you get a free full heal as you enter here, so don't be worried. For the first few encounters, you definitely want to run away, because it is absolutely not worth trying to kill them. If when your characters are still level 1, Clink can kill a Skaven in 1 hit, Karis can't, so these are pretty annoying, so you want to run away, at least until you get this chest, which unlocks experience points. So from now on, it is worth to kill a few of the enemies. It is also might be worth to grab the life fountain for the extra save point here, as well as the full heal. And here we have a Cobra Zero. Cobra Zero, I personally recommend always attack. If you kill 2 of them, you get a level up, and Clink mostly is able to kill 1 in 1 hit, rarely not managing to do so. And this is where the fun part begins, this button. So once we step on this button right here, we're gonna do a few things. What we're gonna do is we're gonna press on it, then press Start to open this menu. When we open this menu and you hear a noise, you have two choices. Either you can just keep the menu open the entire time. I'll actually demonstrate me. You can keep it open the entire time, and at some point you'll be able to move again. And once you're able to move, you just want to, you know, make your way to the boss room. Might get more encounters along the way. Deal with them accordingly. As I said, you can low roll the snakes with Clink. There's also a chance they evade you, etc, etc. So that's the normal way. But what you want to do is keep the menu open and then just walk up here and up into the boss room to the boss. You can, however, try to make it a bit more risky. And save a few extra seconds, if you're willing to do it. Skavens are never really worth a kill. They're just a little bit annoying. They don't really deal too much damage, so you can mostly just run away from them. So what we're gonna do this time, the more efficient way of what we're doing is we're gonna step on the button. Once we hear the noise of it pushing down, we gotta close the menu, walk a few steps up, and then open the menu again, in hopes of being fast enough, obviously, before the cutscene that is triggered by stepping on this plate will point out. This will look like something like this. And then you can move. This way you can get a few steps, saves you a second or two. And then you go up to the crystal and fight Kefka's Ghost. Kefka's Ghost, technically speaking, is a pretty simple fight. If you just keep spamming attack, he'll only get a maximum of 4 attacks in over the entire fight, which you hope he spreads out. Depending on how he spreads them out, you might want to consider throwing a potion, like I will do on Karis's next turn right now, as she is pretty weakened. When he turns blue, do not attack him. He will retaliate with a very powerful counter attack, and also you won't really deal damage to him right now. So as I said, I will use the potion here. Your Karis's normal healing spells usually aren't really enough. As I said, he's usually doing 4 attacks before he dies, dealing about 20 to 25 points of damage with every attack. So usually if he attacks every person twice, or Clink 3 times, Karis 1 time, they can most of the time handle it. If you killed enough monsters to reach level 2, there's also a chance your damage rolls might be high enough to kill him before he turns blue the second time, which we I personally refer to as a 1 cycle. After you kill him, you get level 3, and the important bit of this is, again, you're playing, as long as you're playing on controller. Actually, it works also on keyboard, so just mash the text away, and then once you get into 3D, just walk up. You can still walk, even though with the menu open. Now what we want to do with this menu is we want to go down a little bit and a bit to the right to open a chest here. And as we open the chest, close the menu. This will allow us to walk around. The chest is over here. Saves us a few seconds, you start over here. If you missed to pick up the music chest in the first Forest, here's your second chance. You will have to pick up this chest, which will now be a music upgrade, which I personally won't pick up because I like the normal music better than an upgraded one. And, yeah, you have to pick either one of them. It doesn't really matter which one, as long as you pick one music chest. Otherwise, the game will softlock towards the end, due to some files trying to play which aren't there. So yeah, as I said, the idea behind the menu is, again, you'll close it as you open the chest, which allows you to walk during the animation of opening the chest, which can save you a few more seconds. And then you just follow the path, getting everything out of the way as per usual. If you've played the game before, you should know the path pretty well by now. If not, you should be finding out very soon if you do a few runs of this. Here you definitely want to pick up this chest, which is the life bonus, which means now if we kill an enemy and we are not on full health, they have a chance to drop hearts, which can be coming which can come pretty much in clutch. The chest is right there next to you, so it's not really worth to just pass it by. You only lose like a few frames if you do it correctly, and you gotta leave. before entering the Neura mines, where the shenanigans become a bit rougher. However, for starters, once you open the mines and come through here, you want to make sure you stay to the bottom of the room, as if you enter the top half of this side of the room, right here, Karis will show up with a little cutscene saying, oh yeah, there's a closed door, we should close it, So you want to stay to the bottom here till you're about past the chest and this path here, so this cutscene doesn't play out, saves you a little bit of time. This chest we'll be picking up in a moment, very important chest, if you miss it you can't clear the mines. And we're gonna do some more shenanigans, which also will be a bit easier to see here. Because we're gonna do the exact same thing as before. As we step on this second pressure plate, we're gonna press start to open a menu, and by doing so, try to do some shenanigans. Now, for everyone that's not playing on controller, beware. In this menu, if you do press spacebar to attack, it will close the menu, same as playing confirm on the controller. However, if you're in the glitched state on controller, you can still press attack button, because attack is different than confirm on controller. So yeah, we're gonna step on the platform, open the menu. You can keep the menu open again, or just close it again and open it up a moment later again. If you want to go a bit faster, we're gonna grab the breakable pots chest, grab the chest over here. I'm gonna try to kill the wizard, because I want to explain something, and the wizard is probably not gonna be happy about that. Come on. There we go. Alright, so, in here we have a trap room. And this trap room is why we kept the menu open. In this trap room, once you open the chest, it's a trap. Once you open this chest, it's a trap, and some bats will spawn. What I want you people to do, or what best to do, is open this chest, then as the chest opens, close the menu, and walk down right-ish into the door frame again. It is a bit down right-ish, it is a bit tricky to get the right angle, but usually isn't too hard to get into, and this will happen. The trapdoor will close, and in before there are 6 bats here, not 3. Now you want to make sure your menu is open as you kill the third one, because you never know if the third one is from the first or the second pair. Kill the last one. And as you can see there, 2 chests have spawned. You close the menu, you open both at the same time, and you get 2 keys instead of just 1. With this little dupe and both keys actually working, we can save a little bit of time later. Ignore the skeleton. And then, yeah, we're gonna do a little bit more time save, small time save shenanigans over here, by stepping on here again with the menu open. And then we're just gonna walk out over here. Take this, and then we're gonna head over to the right, because we want to grab the key on this part of the maze. We want to keep the duplicated key for the next lock. Grab it, close the menu as you open the chest so you're able to walk. You can also still attack while in this animation, by the way. And I also just want to make clear once again that you are allowed to open and close the menu while every single one of these, when I just keep the menu open right now for clarity's sakes. It takes a bit of time getting used to, and you might lose your glitches that way, so it can take a bit of practice. Like here, I'm just closing it right here so I can walk and then just be at the door immediately as it opens. But now for the actual important part, being these 2 push blocks over here. Once you push the second, you definitely do want to open the menu and have it open before you enter in here. As I said, you can't just not do what I just did and just keep the menu open until the gate is open and then start walking. The important part is down here. This is a trap room in which 3 skeletons will spawn. However, once you go down and trigger the cutscene like this, you just close the menu and walk past it, and the gate will close. You can also do a bit more of this by walking to the right, and with a bit of timing you can just walk past Karis here as well, but that way you can skip the 3 skeleton trap room in here. Next up is the Armored Octorock. which is pretty simple. You can't damage it, you can only give it knockback damage. You just hope that it's moving in the right direction, and that's basically all about it. For this part, it doesn't really matter which button you press first. I personally just like to do it left-right. It's always that the first one will spawn the skeletons, the second one will open the gates. Now, the Whirlwind Tunnel is a part where we show off another little bug with the menu, because once we're in here and open a menu, we get immune to everything. Damage, knockback, everything. As you can see, I'm getting pushed right here, and suddenly I'm not anymore, thanks to just opening the menu. So what can we use that for? Well, we can use that for just pushing through here, just walking straight through and opening the menu. Just be careful here on the very third one. If you fall down here, you get to a secret treasure at the very start of the dungeon and have to basically walk through all of it again and clear the skeletons in the trap room. Now, the light puzzle. Same thing really goes. I usually like to go this formation, coming from the middle, and when the sorcerers attack you, you can as well only just open a menu, and then you'll be completely immune to their fireball damage and their knockback, and here we use the second key. Now, very important, if you've taken the save points, do not, and I mean it, do not activate the save point. The save point is a trap for us speedrunners, because we can do something very, very good when we don't take the save point. The important bit coming up in a moment. Trapdoor room. Just a matter of learning the positions of where it is. If you forgot to pick up the breakable pots chest earlier, you're basically done here. Now, if you're a bit more experienced as a runner, you can use the lava to lower your health a little bit. You probably, when you're only starting out, want to keep a bit more health. I'm personally fine with just this, as I know a few tricks. And these fireball shooters here. Now, the most important thing for me is, personally, I have something figured out that I name the good cycle. And this is just getting hit by a fireball here and then immediately starting walking is usually a cycle that works out perfectly. If not, as you can see here, you can just keep opening the menu to avoid the damage at all costs, so you don't die. As you're, again, once you have the menu up, you're completely immune to everything. You want to go to the right in the trap room here, open the chest with the boss door key, and then what you want to do is die. Because when you die here, well, that is good for you, because you can just die here now and load your autosave. Your autosave will put you right back at the very start of the dungeon with full health, no less. And also, it will have autosaved after getting the boss door. After getting the boss door key, so you can just go right into the boss room. So you don't have to clear the entire trap room, otherwise you'd have to kill like 3 skeletons, 2 wizards, and a couple of bats. Which can be a bit annoying to deal with. Instead, you can just die and just walk over and be done with it. And that way you're also on full health for starting the boss fight. Speaking of boss fight, say hello to the first real RNG blockade after the random encounters at the very start of the game. Say hello to Dark Clink. Dark Clink has 3, or Shadow Clink has 3 different attacks. He can shoot fireballs that you can just block with a menu. He has a little dash that if he does it into a wall will stun him and allow you a window to hit him, or he can spawn a few bats, like so. Your best idea is just always stand right next to a wall. You don't really need to move much, as you can just, again, block his fireballs with opening the menu. And usually he will move nicely. If you can finish this fight without damage, then props to you. Because this is the hardest fight for 100%, in which you need to beat this fight with full health. Which is a bit harder than it sounds, especially even knowing this little trick. And then as he dies, you do want to open your menu again. Now comes the part that is a bit more tricky for the entire run. So for starters, grabbing the chest, closing the menu, opening the menu immediately. And I just did it the entire wrong way. Doesn't really matter. That way, if you just, you know, close it and open it immediately again, problem solved, no more issues. Once you go down here then, with the menu open hopefully, you want to make sure that you press cancel instead of confirm on your controller. Because if you press confirm, you're gonna close down the menu and be done with here. Now we're coming to the hardest part, chest skip. Now, if you've played enough, then you might have a feeling for it and are able to YOLO it. If you fail it, like I just did, there's always the chance of just, you know, reloading your save from just outside. If you've played enough, you might get a feeling for it and can just set up YOLO like I just did on my second try. However, there is also a more, a better way to set it up, per se, which you can also practice, because unfortunately there is a pressure plate here. If you press on, if you step on it, the boss fight will restart, which you can again use to open the menu. However, you won't have to beat the boss fight, as the door will stay open, so you can also use this as practice. Now, the sad part for me is I'm using a very weird TV, which gives me a different resolution, which is, for me, I line up the very bottom of the menu with the forests down here. If you have it on the exact same line, the little pixels can help you a little bit, like so. Now it's working for me, so now I cannot go through. Was I not on the correct? Huh, interesting. So much for that. Let me actually try something on that note. Yeah, that is for me, however, with my very weird screen resolution, changing the size of the menu box in correlation to the Overworld. If you want to see the more exact setup, it is usually the top right corner with the mountain up to the top right. If you line it up perfectly there, which actually worked for me right now for whatever reason. I'm not even 100% sure why, but yeah, this is the setup. Usually, seems my resolution might have changed or something. Set. If you can see this right now in the top right corner of the menu, it perfectly fits here in the little hole in the mountain on the top right, and then lines up perfectly with it. And this is the frame you need, or the pixel you need, to walk through this chest to skip the animations. As I said, this works, or you can try to YOLO it. The most important thing is that you do skip the chest, because it is always worth resetting over this a few times, unless you already have a run where obviously it's better set up, etc. Especially when you're starting out, it is worth, because the 3D encounters can lose you a lot of time, so resetting over it a few times doesn't matter, really. So if you manage to get here to Aogai with the menu open, congratulations. You'll be getting a little bit more time save. As you go in, you move a few steps till Karis comes out, close the dialogue boxes with her, and before she rejoins you, open the menu again. Before heading up and going to Zit. Now, this is a bit hard to maneuver. You can kind of see if your brightness is correctly. The important bit here is that you stay at the edge here of the arena, that you do not leave it yet. You're not allowed to leave the arena, even if you're allowed to walk here, before Karis leaves the screen. If you do leave the screen before Karis leaves the screen, it will break the game in a way that you won't be able to finish. So you're gonna wait right here till she leaves, and then you're allowed to leave as well, while continuing on with Sid's dialogue, saving you a few seconds. Alright, now off to the coveted bomb skip. We're gonna open these chests up here, talk to Garen, who doesn't have any bombs. Now we're gonna play to the card player here. The card player has a very unique thing about him if you don't have enough cards to play with him. If we say yes, we want to play, he's saying, oh, you need at least 5 cards to play, try to buy more cards. You could close that text box now, but with that text box open, you're actually able to move. And this actually being able to move, we can abuse to go up over here to the nurse. Now, this is a bit precise, you need to talk to her, and as you close the one text box, you open the other, and she is now talking with you. And you can progress her dialogue while walking. Saves you a few seconds, but that's not the end of it. You want to skip a few till you get this cutscene, this text box that ends on Major Burns. I usually just remember the last few words, and you want to leave the city to the north. To perform another small trick, very, very easy, controller only, however, you want to just hold to the left and then move slightly down. Not too far down, and suddenly you're at the other side of the village. Saves you a trip back. Comes in handy in a few places, at a few times. As I said though, however, it is controller only. Next we want to talk to the old lady up here. We're going to do things a tiny bit different because we want to talk to her once and then twice. And then, as you can't move anymore, as you can see right now. However, if you close a few more text boxes, suddenly you can. And you're still in the flow of things. So you want to now progress her text lines till it ends with entrance of the city. Entrance of the village. And then you have to talk to this lovely fella. This lovely fella's hitbox sometimes can be a bit wonky, and is usually the point when you try to go fast where you mess this up. For him, you also just want to talk once, then leave him again, and progress his text box till the last words are house next to Zits. And then you want to talk to the woman here. Once. And here, as you see, we are still in the state. Now, there are 2 things you can do right now. You can either progress to a certain text box, and then screen transition as you do it. Can save you a bit of time. Has a potential to softlock you, however, if you fail it. And a bit easier method that saves you not quite as much is to now just go away from her and close the text boxes. I personally must have messed up somewhere, because if it would have worked out, I would have gotten bomb skip here, we would have had a weird camera turn right now, and they would have told me, hey, you got the bombs, etc, etc, and I would have teleported back down. You can look that up in any of the top 3 leaderboard runs, how it's looking when it's done correctly. I'm actually not quite sure what went wrong here. But, yeah. If it works out, you have a few text boxes and then you're standing right here after getting the bombs. If it fails, however, you have to open this chest, talk to the kid, get it yourself. And if it would have worked, you basically would have been teleported to this position right here, instead of having to walk here. Alright, so we're leaving the city towards the south now. Heading for the Sacred Grove, where we're gonna do a few more shenanigans. So for starters, bombs, press them. As long as you have the menu open, your own bombs can't hurt you, because you're still immune to everything, so you won't have to move a few fields away. And then you come here to the crystal. Time travel unlocked, very nice, and moving up north. For another crystal right here. Before heading into the little cave over here. Now, this is again just a case of learn the pattern. There is just one correct way. If you've done it enough times, you'll be able to know it from heart. I personally haven't played the game in over a year and I still know it. It's just a matter of practicing. Try to not let the bats annoy you, and once you get to the end and grab the bow, you want to jump into the lava to get teleported back to the entrance. At this second here, a save point also is created. Now, there are two ways to continue from here, the intended way and the unintended way. The intended way would be to come back, hit the crystal over here, then to go over here to the fire pit and shoot an arrow over the fire pit, to then turn back the time and be able to pass through here without any issues. However, we are speedrunners, we don't like to do things the intended way if we don't really have to. So what we do instead, and why for whatever reason it didn't save me getting the bow, okay. What we're gonna do instead is a little bit different and tough timing, a little bit tough timing-wise. So what we will do is we're gonna stand on the clearing and shoot an arrow to the left onto the crystal, opening the menu after we fired, and as soon as we hear that the arrow hit, we want to close the menu and hold up. If it works successfully, it should look something like this. And then the time travel will only happen once you let go of your controller. However, this only works if once you close the menu, you already have to hold a direction. This delays this, so now we can't get through here anymore because you can only move past these in the future, but you can only move past these in the past, which we are right now. With a few annoying bats, lucky statements. Now, here again, multiple things we can do. We can shoot an arrow through the fire pit down and to the left to get through here, and then we have a time stone over there. Easier solution, place bombs next to the stone, walk past the tree, the bomb activates the stone, and we can pass here. Now here I always recommend getting back into your sword, because this bat is very, very annoying to deal with any weapon but your sword, and you'll most likely have trouble getting past it if you try to not do this. Shoot the arrow over here. Usually, just to show what I usually do, because I failed this, usually I do it again here, that I do this, switch to my sword while the screen transition happens, because the sword will be nicer to use. That saves you a second of menuing later. And then we want to ignore the first puzzle immediately and go down to the second puzzle itself. Make sure to cut this bush here, very important, and try to kill as many bats along the way as you can without, you know, explicitly hunting them, because you don't want to waste more time than they're worth. Now you want to cut the bush to the right, shoot an arrow over there, cut both bushes here with your sword, and then shoot an arrow up here. Make sure to listen for the noise, because if it doesn't happen, if it can happen that you hear a squeaky noise instead, that means you hit a bat and then you have to shoot another arrow. So the idea is you shoot an arrow here, you shoot an arrow here, and you shoot an arrow here. That way you time traveled, you lit one fireplace, and you burned the tree that didn't allow you to go past here. If you're fast enough, you even get this little glitch box as a reward. And then for the second part of the riddle, you just want to stand a little bit leftish off here, and if you're positioning right, can take a bit to get the feeling. You can just shoot from one fire pit to the other, getting rid of the statue, allowing you to get rid of the puzzle, or the other part of the puzzle. Now, I recommend always stay on your bow here, try to not let the bats annoy you too much, and as always, open the menu over here. Now, I personally do the dungeon this way, of immediately getting in, so I can snipe away these skeletons, because skeletons always die in one shot from the bow. Kill the skeleton over here, and then we switch to the bomb, because perfect. The ghosts may disappear, but their sprites are still there always, and you can just grab the amulet and move out. That's one way of doing it. The bomb way is definitely always preferred option. However, there is a second way of doing this. It's usually just up to own preference and own experience at this point, though. Another way of doing this Again, nothing hit. I hate it sometimes. Another way of doing this is to keep your menu open here, close it as the gate opens, and hold to the left, hold to the right to already grab the chest immediately. And then work your way from this side of the room. You can do that as you prefer. That was a bit too late. And then you can leave. Preferably switching back to your sword. Both ways are about equally fast. As I said, this is just about own preference. Now this crystal we hit once with the sword, then switch back to the bomb and bomb it. So we do not have to care about the second crystal here. Hope the Octorok doesn't annoy you too much, and leave. Very important point right here as well. You want to make sure you want to have a look on your health bar here at this point, because your health bar here is very important, as it will be taken over into the next area. If you're lower than 2 full hearts, I'd usually recommend doing an extra visit at the healer in the village before performing the trick I'm about to show you. If you're a bit unexperienced with the technique itself, always worth to do it as well. I'm personally just going to do it right now, just to show how that would look. Personally, I wouldn't need it. 2.5 hearts are more than enough for my sake. So you just walk past everything and go to the nurse to take her heal and save. Only once, preferably. And then you go back again to the card player. Because we're gonna do the thing with the loose text box again, where we're gonna say, yes, we want to play a game of cards, and then keep the text box open. And we're now gonna talk to the nurse again. Now, without pressing any other buttons, we now have a full heal and a save that actually work on the go, that we can use whenever we need it. Shoutouts to those who don't play on controller. Again, if you press spacebar to attack in this next area, it will progress the text boxes instead, so you won't be able to attack, while I on controller have a different attack button and can just keep spamming that one instead. So, first chest once you come in here to the Ruins of Sarudhnak is the character selection, and you always want to choose Karis, because as the first chest we're going to pick up a 3-hit combo attack. And the thing is, they are both equally strong. However, Karis' attack animation is a tad too long for the case that her third attack always hits enemies twice. So Karis is already able to deal double damage than Clink, so you always want to take Karis. Excuse me. Bless me. Confirm once, and then you want to also press one more button to come up to the heal button. And this is the part where it comes a bit more tricky. So you have if you have full hearts right now, that means you have 12 hit points. You want to now move to the right, grab the combo chest on your way and the extended life bar, and preferably only use the heal once you get the extended life bar. I don't recommend attacking. There is usually a way to just move around the enemies in a way that they don't hit you too much. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and you have the full heal here. You don't want to use the save right now, and if you're playing on Legendary Edition, you do need this ambient light chest here, otherwise once you finish this area the game will soft lock. Only on Legendary. If you're playing non-Legendary, you don't have to mind this. And then you just want to continue up. You can take the save point here if you have unlocked the save point, makes it a bit safer. And the important bit for this part of the level is watch out for the mages. The mages are the ones that deal the most damage. The fireballs here are insanely strong. You always want to make sure to dodge them as you're making your way through. the entire dungeon. Technically, you don't really have to attack anything. You can just take a few hits alongside. As long as it's not the mages, you're most likely gonna have more than enough health as long as you keep moving and don't get trapped in. If you do get trapped in, there's always a chance to use a few attacks to get unstuck. Like I'll be using here. Again, the mage's fireballs are the most dangerous part. Alright, so we have the boss here. Once we open the box, we want to press yes to save, which will again put us in a state where a cutscene is supposed to be playing, and we can just fight instead. For keyboard and mouse players, you just mash through the dialogue and then start the fight as normal. For controller players, you can use the text box that you get from the boss of the dungeon to save about half a second. The main thing about this boss is he is super weak. His normal attacks are extremely laughable, and you will always outdamage him. The dangerous part about him are his fireballs, just like the mages. However, you can abuse the gravestones around you. If you get yourself on one side and the boss on the other side of the gravestone, he will still be able to hit you, he will try to hit you, and you can just spam attack until he dies, which we're gonna showcase now. I'm just gonna move to the side of here, lure him over here, and now I'm just hitting him until he dies. As you can see, the 200 to 300 numbers always are showing twice on him, and also due to the range of her attack, it also means that you're protected when he spawns the mobs around you. If he does manage to wedge himself out in a way that he can hit you, there is always a chance to readjust. I personally don't think I'll be needing that right now. And he's dead. Make sure to pick up some of the health and, more importantly, some of the money that he dropped. The health is usually not really that much of an issue, as your health should always be still high enough to get through here. As you can see, I'm over half health. So if you do still have the text box open, you can just open this chest and spam it close. So you're then already waiting a little bit on the left here, where the next chest will spawn, to save a little bit of time. Alright, moving on. Next thing we're gonna do is the first Zephyros fight, for which we prepare by opening this chest and buying about 5 potions. Yeah, don't have the money for more anyways right now. From this merchant, and also talk to the card player once more to get the loose text box before leaving north towards the Black Citadel, where we're gonna have the first Zephyros fight. The first Zephyros fight is pretty simple. You just always spam X Crystal with Karis. Spam attack with Clink, use potions with Clink once the character gets below 30 HP. Once you deal 200 points of damage, he will go into a second phase where you die, and then you summon Baba Moot, and then the fight is over. Before you enter, however, I want you to open the menu and press confirm once to close the text box, so you can still move around with the menu open and enter the Black Citadel. This will not have an effect here, this will have an effect for after the fight, because the menu will stay open for after the fight. The text box would not. Alright, so, as I said, Zephyros, usually the idea is just spam attack with Clink, spam the magic X Crystal with Karis. Karis will usually deal more damage on average than Clink. Has a wider range of damage though, however, as well. And once they are, as I said, around 30 HP, I'd personally say throw potions with Clink, not with Karis, as once again, Karis usually deals more damage than Clink does. You also don't want, want to make sure that you're not too high health for once you're done. And then that's basically the entire fight here already explained. As I said, once you deal 200 points of damage total to him, he will go into his second phase where he starts charging a Kamehameha that will kill you, hopefully. If it doesn't, then just let him attack you 1 or 2 more times without really defending against it. Though most of the time you should be low enough that he can. Once he starts charging the Kamehameha, there's no need to heal, there's no need to cast anymore. All you really need to do is just go fast, so I personally recommend to just spam attack to get rid of your moves as fast as possible without wasting too much time. So yeah, we deal 200 points of damage now. We're wasting a little bit of time now with doing a few more attacks. Bad ATB for us right now in this case. And ditch. This is a mandatory death. It can't be avoided under no circumstances. It can only be postponed. When now he's going to kill Karis. Skip a few dialogue boxes and it's gone. And this has now awakened your special abilities, so you can now go to magic and summon Babamoot as soon as you get back in, or special Babamoot it is, not magic. Which is a summon. Babamoot will always deal the exact amount of HP that an enemy has left. Means he's always an instant kill for anything you summon him. Has a, I think it was 5 to 10 minute cooldown on him, however, in real time. And that's that. So once you've beaten him, you still have the menu open and you want to make your way back to the village. Can be a bit tricky at times. Saves you a bit of time later on though. And then you also want to do the thing again with the village where you enter from one side and leave to the other. So you want to again move left and a little bit down to enter to the front and move out to Sid. Once you've talked to Sid, you can close the menu again and already move out and wait where the airship will spawn. While you spam through the NPC's dialogue. If you accidentally talk to one on the way, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect you in any real way. It just loses you a little bit of time, and you want to already be standing around this area where the airship will be spawning to fly you immediately to the mana tree, to the final boss. Now, there isn't a lot more to say about the final boss except practice him. If you finish the run, your save file will be again exactly in front of this boss fight, so you can practice him a lot. The main thing is really just learning a bit of him, getting a feeling for his cycles, and finding your own strategies to manipulate him. Now, another thing that I should say here is that you want, while you're attacking the hands, you want to hold attack instead of spamming it. That way your attacks come out a bit faster, usually allowing you to get 3, maybe even if you're very lucky, 4 hits in per slam down. Ten hits per hand, then he moves on to phase 2 where he's gonna spin around in circles. You want to mainly run away from him, hit his eye, and then move to the back. Again, with holding attack, you might be able to sometimes get in 2, or if you're very lucky, even 3 hits. Which should make very quick work of the boss. Second phase. You might need a little bit of luck. There is a bit of shenanigans with the ball, sometimes going straight over or a little bit more left or a little bit more right. Kind of depends on how you hit him and which angle, but I've never actually been personally able to manipulate in a correct way. And then you have the final fight, where you just have to throw balls back at him. You can only throw back the blue balls. You kind of want to always make sure you're standing in a straight line to him, because if you're not standing in a straight line to him, then there is a chance that your attacks your attacks that you reflect onto him will actually miss him. And wow, three blues back to back. That is actually pretty darn rare. That's not gonna work. No, it did. Okay. And then once the attacks are done, he flows to the middle, has a few text boxes, and as soon as the vital text block closes, it is time. And yeah, that is my guide on how to speedrun Evoland. I hope it will help people to come into the game, since we don't really have any elaborate guides to hold on. If you found this channel, if you found this video, you can gladly join us on our Discord, which is linked on our speedrun.com page. I've been Upkanama, and I hope to see you in the Discord, and I hope to be verifying your runs soon. Thanks for taking the time, have a good one, and good luck with this game.